Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Raya Hope, the talk show and podcast with your hosts, Raya and Leslie.
Hello.
It is another gorgeous Saturday.
Oh
what do we do to deserve all of these beautiful Saturday afternoons? No rain.
It's so pretty.
Sun is shining in the 70s. It's
nice
like perfect.
breeze. It's so breezy out there.
What do we do?
Woke up and got
right.
cute.
That's right.
Mm.
That's right. But today we are going to finish off this season because, let me just go back.
Yes.
So Leslie and I have been doing a podcast since January 4th of 2022. We just decided we wanted to start a podcast. It's always been a dream of mine, and we wanted to talk about mental health in the Black community, and we wanted to bring our perspectives. We're both nurses. We've both gone through a lot of life journeys, and she's from NOLA, and I'm from Ohio. We cross paths, and we just wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
And we have started this podcast, and it has taken off, and now we're on the radio.
Yay.
Yay. With our favorite engineer, Mr. Mike. He makes it happen for us every Saturday. But we have been in this for 2 years, our second season, and we have done 20 episodes. That's
so awesome. All praises to God. That's so awesome.
All praises to God.
That's so awesome. That's so funny. I sent you, that little memory popped up of us, how we started. And I saw it, and I was like, let me send this to Raya. That's like humble beginnings.
It is. Never forget where you come from.
Yeah, it really brought like a little tear to my eye.
Yeah.
Because we, like those bloopers.
Yes. Oh my God, I love the bloopers. Your laugh. Your facial, she cannot hide her facial expressions. If she's feeling any kind of way, she doesn't have to say anything. You're going to see it on her face.
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. That's who you are. That's who you are. But we're going to finish off May. It's Mental Health Awareness Month also.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into some mental health. We're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves because if you watch our podcast on YouTube or if you listen on Apple or Spotify, and you started with season 1, some people know our background and how we came together. For those of you that are just joining us this second season on the radio, you may not know, so we're going to dig into that.
Yeah, and thank you guys for the ones that started tuning in to listen to us. We are so grateful to you guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Truly honored, truly humble.
Yes.
So just a little bit of background information about myself, and then we'll let Leslie tell you about herself. So I am born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. Been here for almost 49 long years, 1974. Mother is Edwina White, who retired from St. Stephen's. She's known as the St. Stephen's lady. That's what people call her. That's Miss White from St. Stephen's. My father is Ray Knight, who I am named after. He passed away last February 18 from colon cancer. No longer with us. I have 2 brothers. I have a sister, Charles White, Eric White, and LaShondra Tuff. And I have a son and a daughter who is 31. My son, Shay, is a personal trainer and goes to Ohio State. And then I have a daughter, Kiara. Kiara Bell is married and a cat mother. And I can now tell everyone that she is expecting, but my second grandchild, she will be due in January. So congratulations to Kiara and Sean Bell. Yes. So Leslie and I have a lot in common. I started out as a medical assistant back in 2004. So I've been in this medical field for almost 20 years. I think you've been a nurse just as long as I've been in the medical field. You've been a nurse about 18 plus years. Yeah, and then I went back to school, decided to become a licensed practical nurse or LPN, went back and got my RN. So I was one of those overachievers. A week after I graduated, I went right back to school.
God bless you.
I got my RN. And then a week after I graduated from my RN, I went back and I started the BSN MSN Bridge program and I got my master's.
Double blessings.
In nursing education. And then I gave myself a couple of months break and then I went back and I got my doctorate in nursing practice. And then I took about a year off and went back and got my psych, which is psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, which I am completing. So Leslie and I have a lot of experience. So now I'm going to let Leslie tell you about her background, and then we'll tell you about how we met.
Well, I'll make mine short and sweet because I'm a talker and I can way outdo Raya with the talking, but so I am from New Orleans. If you have not already heard my accent, it will come out every now and then.
Go ahead and say, baby.
Yeah, baby.
I love when she says, yeah, happy Mardi Gras, baby.
Happy Mardi Gras, baby. No, don't get me started. So I came up here via Katrina. My husband and I had gotten married in August of 05 and gotten pregnant right away. Katrina hit in August of 05, and so we lost everything, did not have a place to stay, and it was kind of like we would close our eyes and just kind of put our finger on the map, and wherever it landed, that's where we were kind of going to stay. And it just so happened my sister lived here. Her husband, had moved here 5 years prior to Katrina, and so this was my first child. And so it was actually my brother-in-law who decided that I should come up here and, raise my daughter or whatever. So we moved up here. We kind of got acclimated very quickly, and it was a lot of political stuff going on in New Orleans, and that's a whole nother topic. And just know that the stuff you guys saw on TV was not everything that was going on in New Orleans, but I get it. That's what the media showed you guys. So all the little, the people and everything you saw, that was, yes, that happened, but that wasn't the whole, the story was so much bigger. So by the time we wanted to go back home, it was just a lot of red tape, and we just got acclimated really quickly up here. So we just decided to stay. Purchased a house like a year later, and we both got on our feet pretty fast. And so I was an LPN for 14 years. Wow. I decided to go back to school in 2016, became an RN, got my associate degree. I should be starting to get my BS in, but I don't know if I'm going back that route because I actually met a family who actually is from New Orleans. It's the craziest thing. Like, met a family from New Orleans in Ohio, which is so strange that I never met them back home. Who they adopted me, I adopted them. Yeah. They have 2 restaurants out here. It's way down yonder, Beignet Coffee and Cafe. Please come and see.
Hey, yonder.
And then that's our Beignet restaurant, and then the other restaurant is way down yonder. New Orleans' finest restaurant. That's our food restaurant. And so I have kind of started transitioning into that world, and so I don't know if I'm going back and get my nursing license, like if I'm going to further that degree or if I'm going to do more business. I don't know, because then I kind of feel like I want to go mental health too with you. So I don't know. I'm kind of like asking God to just guide me.
Right.
So I have a whole bunch of different avenues. So that's kind of where I am. I thoroughly though enjoy being a nurse. And it's weird because I get to, even though I'm a nurse, but I'm also kind of in that restaurant world. It's funny because those two kind of intermingle.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah. It's still taking care of people.
Yeah. It's just
their spirits.
Yeah.
Their souls. Just loving on people.
Yeah. When I pick up, I'll go and say, hey, can I take your tray or can I move this? And they're like, yeah. And they'll look at me like, you're so nice. I'm like, thank you. So are you. And I'm like, oh, do you need some water? Like your cheeks are a little red. I'm like always assessing.
Yeah,
like
you're nurturing. Okay? Yes.
So yeah, that's kind of where I am and who I am. So
well, I'm so glad that even though Hurricane Katrina was the reason that you came here, that you're here. You have flourished since you've been here, and you've come a long way.
I think so.
I bet you didn't know that when y'all brought you here, he has so much in store for you.
I didn't, and I was very against, honestly, being here, to be honest, because if you ever meet somebody from New Orleans, or I don't even know if it's just from New Orleans, I just think anybody that has been misplaced, in the manner that I was displaced, you don't, like, I wasn't asked to be put in a city and state that I didn't really know anybody. Like, I left I had no identity. You know, everything that I knew back home was gone. So I could tell you all day, yeah, girl, I made straight A's and I was in newspaper articles because I was a track star and I did all these great things. I could tell you that, but I had nothing to back that up with because everything was gone. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like my wedding picture is gone. pictures of my mom and my dad gone. So I had to rely on people who still had stuff of me to send that to me. So I didn't. I had no clue that the path that God had already laid out for me up here was going to look like it looked, because I did not want to be here. I did not want to be here.
He will make us uncomfortable before he blesses us.
Very.
One thing I do know is that we don't understand the plan. We don't know the whys. The only thing we can do is have faith and follow his lead. And then we'll come out on the other side if we continue to walk in faith. And then he will show us that what I had was greater for you. And had I gave you a peek into your future, you would have been scared. You would have feared it, and you would have fought it.
Girl.
So I couldn't show you because I didn't want you walking in fear, and I didn't want you to fight the path that I had laid out for you.
Girl.
So we just got to continue to walk in faith. And I think your story is a prime example that you didn't know, but you trusted him, and he led you to being an executive assistant for 2 wonderful, thriving restaurants, and being a COO of a mental health foundation, continuing to walk in your purpose and path as a nurse to help other people. And sometimes we just have to follow what Yah gives us, is our gut instinct, listening to him, walking in faith. And isn't he just wonderful?
God is good.
Now, I did not know when you said we were going to recap, girl, that we was going to recap with emotions.
Yes.
I was not prepared for this.
This forum that Yah has provided for us is focused on faith, favor, and fruition. We walk in faith. He shows us favor, and whatever we manifest comes into fruition. He will bring it to light for us. That's what he does. And we're going to be a living example of that, because I believe that he brought us together, but then I say all the time,
He don't make mistakes.
he doesn't make mistakes. And I think he brought us together because we went through very similar but separate journeys, if that makes sense. And Leslie and I are like total opposites. I have 2 children, she has 1.
Yeah.
She's married, I'm divorced. She's from New Orleans with the country accent. I'm from Ohio. People say, oh, you talk so proper. So we're like the total opposites, but we both worked in utilization management.
Yeah.
We're both very giving people, and we love hard.
Very.
So we had all these similarities and differences at the same time that aligned us to walk in this moment and in this purpose.
Yeah. And it's so funny how we met and when we met. Like, I swear I had to call my husband. I won't get into like the whole story, but it was just.
Oh no, you got to tell the story how we met.
So
and we both used to love to work out. That's how we met.
Okay, so we actually were working out for years, but never had really really talked to each other.
Right.
It was always like a high and by, because there was so many people that worked out at this spot. So it was always like a high and by type thing. And then Raya, we both drive big trucks.
Right.
And so I would see, and there was so many people that was working out. You had to really get there at a certain time to get a parking spot.
Yeah.
And so I would, her truck at some point caught my eye because it said UM nurse on the back. And I was like, UM nurse? Well, I'll be UM nurse. And then it was like a big truck, and now at this point I'm fighting for parking spots. So she's getting there at the same time, and I'm getting there, and I'm like, oh no, her truck is big too, so I gotta give me a spot too. I'm not parking by this McDonald's and walking. Like, I'm tired. I just got off, and I'm gonna be tired at this, working out. So little did she know, like, I had already peeped game, and I'm like, yeah, no, she don't know, like, we about to start fighting for these spots, girl. So
I didn't have a clue.
Yeah, she didn't know. So I was like, as soon as I would see her, like, I was looking for her car. As soon as I would see her truck, I was like, so. But I would see her when we were leaving, like, oh, and I was like, oh, she's, I'm not afraid to compliment people, like, oh, she's so pretty, so I was like, hey, bye, anybody, like, that's how we are back home.
That's
like,
we just have in common.
Yeah,
Because I didn't know Leslie, and I'm like, girl, you are everything. That was my word for her. Like, girl, you are, your body's, the waist is snatched.
Oh, it's so sweet. But back home too, like if you make eye contact with somebody, anybody, kids, men, women, whatever, it's just in us to speak.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would see her and I would say, hi, you know, good night, bye, whatever. And so, but she didn't know, child, I was already after her behind that parking spot. So we kind of, you know, that was already kind of playing behind the scenes. And then when George Floyd passed away, that just did something to me, just mentally, just internally, it just tore me up. And I decided for whatever reason I wanted to do a photo shoot. And so my spirit just started speaking to me. Long story short, I made a list, woke up one morning, made a list of people I wanted to do a photo shoot with me. And her name made the list. And mind you, I had never spoken to Raya Wheaton other than hi and bye. And her name made the list. And I was thinking, like, God, you sure you want this lady to be on this list? Like, I don't know this lady like this. Like, and I don't want her to think I'm crazy, like reaching out to her. And my spirit was like, call her. And so I was like, okay. I always have had the mindset of what is the worst thing that somebody can do to you if you don't know them is just tell you no. How many times have we always said no? Some people, I get it, they're not good with rejection. I have gone through so many things in my life where I have been rejected that I'm used of it and I know how to bounce back from it. So I'm okay with it. And so the worst thing she was gonna do was either not respond to me or say, nope, don't know you, girl. Don't text me ever again. The answer is no. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna text her. And so she graciously said, yep, I would love to do it. And so I had to drop off, I had everybody's shirts made. I had to drop off a shirt to her. And we literally stayed in the Taco Bell parking lot for 3 hours. Well, I dropped off this shirt and so I had to keep calling my husband like, Corey, I swear.
I'm talking.
I'm talking. Like I had to call him with her in the background because I didn't want him to think like, what is she doing? Like, is she really talking to somebody and dropping off a shirt? But he knows I'm a talker. So,
right.
And I left home feeling like, I remember driving home like, she's so familiar. Like her spirit feels so familiar to me because I have 4 best friends that I grew up with in high school. They're still my best friends, Jahan, Irvette, Keisha, and Keisha. Like,
hey.
And it was our conversation was so easy. It was very easy and very familiar. And I remember just calling my friends like, y'all, I met somebody that she reminds me so much of y'all. Like, and I hold my best friends to a very high standard, like they do me. Because we all grew up at childhood friends. Like never argued, we never fought. We're 48 and we still love each other real hard, like real deep. And so I just remember thinking like she's very familiar, easy to talk to. We have a lot of that giving spirit, very kind-hearted. And so it was just from there we talked about like our dreams and our goals and our aspirations and what she wanted to do with her foundation. And I was telling her like how I wanted to start a foundation for women, and we just kind of bonded over that conversation. And so I feel like I remember, I think I was like in Myrtle Beach on vacation, and you text me like, hey, I want you to be my COO. And I was like, oh, okay. And I think you put it on Facebook before I even made it back to Columbus. Because I was getting all these dings on my phone. Like, congratulations, Leslie. I was like, for what? And then I saw you had posted. I was like, oh, that was serious. So nice.
It's so hard to come by people that have a genuine, loving, caring spirit. Like, we give and we don't want anything in return. You don't have the time. We don't even get to thank you, and that's fine because we give behind the scenes and it's between us and y'all. And so I'm from Columbus, where I see a lot of people when they give, they got their camera phones out and they want people to pat them on the back and say, oh, you're so. I don't want that. I don't need people to know what I'm doing behind the scenes as long as Yah knows. Because he tells us in the Bible, make sure that when you are giving, that you're not giving in vain. And so you had that spirit about you where you love to help people behind the scenes and you don't want nothing in return because you genuinely want to help them. You're not doing it for selfish reasons. And so that was something that stood out to me like, oh yeah, we can do this because I know if we join forces and we go out, we help the community, and we help people behind the scenes. We don't have to run to Facebook and social media and be like, look at us. Because that's not why we do it. We do it from the kindness of our heart. We do it because that's who Yah made us to be. And we don't need nothing in return. Nothing in return. Just to wake up every day is a blessing for us. after all we've been through. And so it's hard to meet somebody that's like that, you know, and that's not something you can go searching for, because people will show you themselves, and it's up to you to take it at face value. And so when you meet people that are genuine, that are caring, that are loving, you see it for what it is, especially when you're that type of person. And so that's what drew me to you. And I thank y'all that I have somebody that's like-minded and just so caring and loving and humble and beautiful. And you know, it's crazy because when I started my mental health foundation, Leslie's like, well, I don't know anything about mental health. And then she went through something. And I was blessed enough that I was there to let her know what she needed or to listen. A lot of us just need somebody to listen, and I was there to listen. And Leslie can tell you, sometimes we're on the phones for 5 hours. And we listen to each other. And there's days where she'll listen to me, and there's days I'll listen to her, and there's days we laugh the whole time. And that's rare. That is so rare, but we will, I mean, it's just like, and it's not for, like, we can find anything to talk about. From politics, sports, entertainment, babies, our mental health. Are you doing okay? I had a dream. I'll have dreams and I'll call and tell her, and she'll be like, ooh. And then she'll call me the next day and be like, say something that refers to the dream and will confirm it for me. Like, it's just a spiritual connection. It's just like so crazy. And then we started our foundation, and we started our podcast. If you have not listened to season 1 of our podcast, please go check that out, because we had some really great topics. We talked about self-love. We talked about representation in the Black community. We talked about life happening, because we all have these life happen moments, right? And we've had a lot of those between the two of us. We've had a lot of life moment happens, but we also talk about how to cope when life happens. We talk about biracial bias and mental health. Healing Her Empowers Me with Julie Morrison. Be encouraged. So we have all of these great topics that we explore in season 1. So go back and watch that. You can watch us on YouTube if you want to see our faces, or you can listen on Apple and Spotify. And then this season we talked about friendships and mental health, because we both went through a transition around the same time, with different types of friendships, knowing when to separate friendship from association was huge. We talk with different community activists and people that are doing things in the neighborhood, in our community. We talked about nurse burnout, mothers' mental health, but we're just so grateful that we were given this platform, and that y'all seem fit to use us as vessels to reach out to people.
And I think you know, the community activists that we've had on the show, please go and follow them. They are doing some wonderful things in the community. A lot of them are nonprofits. So just following them and supporting them, and you know, if they have events, a lot of them have events. The young ladies we had on last week, you know, they have a clothing line that is so dope.
And they're at the Columbus Black Expo today. So if you're at the Columbus Black Expo, stop by and see female wear. Denise Salisbury and Sylvia Townsend.
And listen, Denise is a baker. I just picked up 2 cakes from her yesterday.
Already.
Listen, this strawberry crunch cake, I am not a cake eater like that. I put it in my truck, and my daughter was like, oh my God, can we hurry up and get home and eat it? And I was like, it's not to be touched tonight, honey. It's not. And both of us were like trying so hard to like resist from eating it. I did take a little bite of her little 7-Up cake. It was
of course you did.
But this strawberry crunch cake is going to get demolished tonight. It smells so good. So please, I think support. we need more of that. We need to make sure, you know, this year and just going forward, that we really put an effort into supporting each other. You know, because we need it.
Yes, we do.
We're hurting. We've been hurting, but you know, I'm starting to see more of us come together. We should have been doing that, but now more than ever, I'm noticing more people are starting to do things, which is a good thing. We just have to keep being consistent with it. So
that's the word, consistent.
If we can have a platform, no matter the size, if we can put people on it so they can get their word out and their business and their nonprofit, please, even if you're just sharing or liking their page, just that support too. Even if you don't do it monetarily, just even if you're sharing, just so somebody else can see it. You're putting it in front of somebody else, that's support. So, just support in any way you can. That's my little spiel.
So we want to give a shout out to all the people that have appeared on our show. So you guys can follow them on Facebook and Instagram, look them up. We had Stu Hampton, he's a community activist. We had Dana Brock, who is also a community activist and has a foundation. Austin Parker from AP Fitness. Please follow him. He is a wonderful trainer. And his girlfriend is a vegan chef, great meals. We've also had Mike Roy Sr., who was a stroke survivor. We had Danielle Harrison, who has a foundation. Her foundation is Women Just Like Me. We have Jana Harrison, and she's on Facebook, Around Town with Sweet. And she goes out and she supports local businesses, mainly in the Black community, and she would share their events and make sure that people are aware of what's going on in our city and our community. We had Julie Morrison from the Heal Her Foundation, who's also a breast cancer survivor. We had Angie Crago, who is from WOW, Women Without Walls. And each year, her church, with Lady C, they do an event, which is a free community event at their church, and Raya's Raise a Light Foundation. We go out there and we set up a tent and we talk about mental health in the Black community. So please go follow these people. We have more guests coming on in June, because it is Father's Day, the third week of June. We are going to have a lot of males on talking about mental health and different things in our community. So thank you guys so much. But I'm going to give you the word of the day. And please listen to this. This is Ephesians 4:2-6. So be completely humble and gentle. Let me say that again. Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient with one another in love. Make an effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. Make an effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. We don't always have to fight each other. It's okay to support each other. It's okay to love on each other. It's okay to help people get to a place that you want to be before you get there. Just go out and love on each other. But Leslie's going to close us out with the words of the day. We love you guys, and thank you so much for supporting us through this journey.
I like that, Rhea. So John 1:19-20. So John the Baptist was baptizing people and gaining a lot of attention when the Jewish leaders asked him if he was the Messiah. Without missing a beat, John said, "I am not. It is important to know who you are and who you are not. If you do not know this, you can spend the rest of life trying to be something you are not. Knowing what you are not will help you stay focused on becoming who you are, because there will always be pressure to be this, to be that, to be the other. If you are trying to be something you're not, you'll be frustrated. There's no grace for it. It will be a constant struggle, like it's always uphill. When you are you, you're activating your anointing. The anointing on your life is to be who God has called you to be. There's a favor, a blessing, a grace that is unique to only your life. So just be confident in who you are. Keep being who God has made you to be. That's it. That's all you have to do.
That's all you have to do.
Just be confident in who God has called you to be. We love you. Thank God that you have listened to us. You have received us every Saturday at 1.
Yes.
I love you, Ray Ray.
Love you too. Here's the episode number 21.
Yay.
Love you guys. Have a beautiful Saturday.
Have a good
Take care
one.
of each
Bye,
other.
y'all.
Bye-bye.